Hi, I'm E.D. Lewis, and welcome back to my channel, E.D. Lewis Reviews. Before we get started, please hit that like and subscribe button, and hit that little bell on the subscribe button so you can get all the instant notifications that I have a new video up. And also, please connect with me on social media, Instagram and Twitter. I don't use Twitter very much though, so not as much on there. And there's Bookbub and Goodreads as well. So please follow me on those platforms. And one more thing, actually, before we get started. This is kind of a shameless plug, but as soon as I pull it up, I should already had it pulled up. My latest writing is now available on Amazon Kindle, and it is a bone-chilling new horror story called One Lonesome Night. Sorry for all the glare. And it is available. It came out on the 2nd, and is this the 4th? 5th? 4th. Today's the 4th. So, by the time you see this, it could be the 5th. So, who knows. But, yeah, check that out. It is on Amazon Kindle. It is 99 cents, and it's a fairly short read. It's actually set in the same universe as one of my previous short stories. It wasn't a horror story, it's a different type of story. That's also available on Amazon Kindle. It was a location that was mentioned in the story along with the professor, but it now, this story takes place in that location, so... the stories are completely unrelated. They just take place in the same universe. So, anyway. So, welcome back to my channel for another nocturnal review, as it is nighttime. You can't tell that, though, but it is. I'm getting a little bit of a draft here. So, anyway. For tonight's review, I'll be doing a book and movie review. I guess going to make sure I'm good on time. And tonight's book review and film review is on Alice Hoffman's 1995 classic, Practical Magic. This is actually a book that I read 2 summers ago, I think. I was actually reading it during the my local public libraries reading not reading challenge. It was the summer reading program. Couldn't even think of it. So it was one of the books that I read on there, and I had seen the movie numerous times, and I'd never read the book. And I know there's 2 prequels now: The Rules of Magic and Magical Lessons. I'm not sure. And it just came out, I think, last year. I've not read either one of those, but I've heard good things about Rules of Magic. Haven't heard a lot about the latest one, though. But it seems like she's going back. Alice Hoffman started with, the more current story, and then she went back to the 1960s, I guess, for Rules of Magic, and then she goes back to the very beginning with Magical Lessons, or Magic Lessons, whichever it is. So, anyway, let's get on to what the book is about. If you've never read the book or the movie, I have to have my notes here because I wrote them last night, and I made them rather lengthy, so I don't know. I might try to edit them out as I go. But anyway, like I said, it was published in 1995. I kind of consider this a little bit of a gothic-y story. Not a typical gothic romance. Some might not even consider it gothic. I do, because it does deal with some similar themes, and there's kind of a gothic location. There is kind of these darker themes. Death is one of the themes. The darker side of love is another one of the themes. And also, deep family connections as well. And kind of running away from your roots and where you come from. So, some things you just can't ever escape. So, the story is about Sally and Jillian Owens. They are 2 little girls. They've recently lost their parents in a tragic accident, and they have to go live with their aunts in this little town in Massachusetts, where their family is known for basically anything bad that's ever happened in the town. they blame the Owens women, or the Owens family. So, Sally is the very practical one, and she's very smart. Jillian, she's more outgoing and free-spirited, we'll say. So they live with their aunts in this very kind of big, dark house with all these cats and this garden full of herbs, and the aunts apparently practice witchcraft. And they have a specialty, and that is love magic. And the townsfolk, even though they are not fond of them and they're very, about them and talk about them behind their backs. Hold on. My Kindle is being difficult. Or tablet, rather. They go to the Owens women for desperate love wants or needs. And so, some of those don't always go well, and it kind of tarnishes the girls' look on love a little bit. So, when they're older, I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but let me back up. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. I went completely off script. So, Sally's very skeptical about the ants and their magic, while Jillian is, not so sure. And there is one instance, though, with the love magic. There's a drugstore girl. My tablet is being really difficult, and it's making me a little irritated. Sorry, that was really distracting for me. There's this drugstore girl, and I can't remember if the guy she's in love with is a teacher or he's like the principal of the school. I know he works at the school. I cannot remember for the life of me. But she's obsessed with him, and she goes to the ants, and it has very devastating consequences. And it's something that definitely is unforgettable what happens to her. I don't want to give that away. So the girls grow up, and they increase in beauty, and Jillian becomes like very desired by like every man and every guy who sees her. And Sally, people think of her often even when they shouldn't, but she's oftentimes aloof because she wants to have a normal life and kind of the normal relationship, whereas Jillian goes through guys like tube socks. So Jillian runs off, and she ends up going from one marriage to another, and Sally eventually finds a man of her own, the man of her dreams, well, it seems like the man of her dreams anyway, and a man named Michael who works at a hardware store. They do get married, and it changes her life drastically. The townsfolk don't talk about the Owens women anymore. The aunts even become less of pariahs in the community. So everything is perfect. They have 2 lovely daughters, and then the Death Watch beetle is sitting next to Michael's chair, and soon he dies. I'm not going to say how. So, this devastates Sally. She goes mute for about a year, and then she suddenly snaps out of it on the 1-year anniversary of her husband's death when she sees one of her daughters getting bullied at the park. She finally speaks her first words that she hasn't spoken in forever, and she grabs her girls, packs up, and makes arrangements to buy a house elsewhere. So she goes to New York. And I apparently just got a message. So, she moves to the suburbs, and she tries to make a normal life for herself, and she raises her girls on her own. And she does it rather successfully. Everything seems to be pretty normal again. And she, she's had time to grieve and at least somewhat get over Michael's death until Jillian comes for a visit, bringing trouble with her in the form of her latest beau's corpse. So I'm just going to leave it off there for you, and looking at our time, we're doing great. So, now we're going to talk about the movie. We've talked about the book. Now we're going to talk briefly about the movie. Now, this movie came out a couple years, 3 years actually, after the the book came out, and it stars Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, as you can see on the cover. And also, I can't remember who is Adrian Quinn. I couldn't think of his name. I knew who it was. He's also in it, and he plays an absolutely awesome part in the movie. The movie did not do so well, unfortunately, but it has kind of become a cult classic, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite witchy films. So, the film is a little different. It took a different turn to the story completely. It adds in a family curse, where no man can, love an Owens woman. There's a lot more magic practiced in it, especially by Jillian and Sally. Jillian, I don't know why I really made this note because it's not really overly important, but Jillian's hair is completely different in the movie. In the movie, she's a redhead. In the book, she's blonde. It's not really a major difference. The film is set in the same small town that the book starts in, instead of, Sally moving to the suburbs. When she marries Michael, who does not work for a hardware store. I think he's like a grocer or something, or delivers groceries. And also his death is handled a little differently, and also the grieving process is completely buzzed over. So, but they in the book they move into they stay in the aunt's attic the entire time during their marriage, whereas in the movie they get their own place, and you get married, they get their own place, and they live, very much the normal life, kind of like what happens in the book, except for without the aunts being, there with them all the time. I was just thinking of one. I'm going out of order because I don't really have all these in order, because some of them I thought of, I should mention that. We do get more of the ants, though. The ants are much more prevalent in the movie, and they're very entertaining. I cannot think of who plays them both off the top of my head, but their backstory is a little different themselves. The Death Watch beetle is used more in the film than it is in the book. It's only used in basically one little section in the book, but it is used in the film. And it actually has to do with the curse, and the curse has to do with why their parents died, whereas in the book it was completely different. So there is much more humor because the movie is done very humorously. And sorry, just checking on my tablet. It's done almost kind of romantic comedy-ish, but there is some frightful scenes, especially the character of Jimmy, who's Sally's latest man. I don't think in the book she's married to him. I think they just live together and stuff. In the movie, he's completely different. His background is completely different too, and they give him a completely different name. He's more hick-like in the book, and in the movie, he's a foreigner from Bulgaria or something like that. Or yeah, I think it's Bulgaria. Sally's daughters are younger in the film, whereas in the book we do see them as little girl, as basically babies, little girls, and then teenagers. They are more preteen-like, I think, is the latest we see them. Also, Sally owns a shop in the movie that is not anywhere in the book, where she makes lotions and shaving cream and all kinds of stuff using herbs and stuff. So she does use a little bit of her witchy background there, without actually practicing the craft. Jillian does not get married a lot in the movie, though. She does go through several different men, but she doesn't marry any of them. So I think at one point in the movie she even mentions that she probably will never get married, but who knows. Also, she does have a love interest later in the book, whereas in the film she doesn't. And in the book she stays with Sally for quite a while until the whole trouble that she's brought to her sister's life, kind of ruining her normality is a big thing in the movie and in the book. But I'd say in some ways the book is more dramatic than the movie. although the movie is a dramatic interpretation of the book. And there are some quite memorable scenes, especially something with midnight margaritas, so... But anyway, that's my little review. I would check out both these, read the book, and definitely see the movie. And if you've already seen the movie, definitely read the book. So these are the book and the movie of Practical Magic. Please check those out. And also, they're great for Valentine's month, which I've been doing movies every day of this month for Valentine's. And last night I did rewatch Practical Magic. So I was preparing myself. I don't really know what tonight's movie is supposed to be. Might be Pride and Prejudice, which is another great book to read and movie to watch, or miniseries, depending on what adaptation you watch, for Valentine's. So more Valentine's-y stuff will be coming soon. I'll also be doing a tag video. I feel like my phone shifted a little bit there, but anyway, I'm gonna stop this video now, and so yeah. So I'll see you next time. Check out Practical Magic, the movie, the book, both, one or the other, whatever you have time for. And have a great evening, day, morning, whenever you're seeing this. So yeah, my phone is moving. It's tilting. So I'll see you next time. So bye-bye.